Morning, my dear students, legendary students, all of you. Good morning. This is
Good morning, sir.
very good morning. Welcome back to online
Good
webinar
morning, sir.
classes. Sri Vasavi Degree College. Heartily welcome. Uh, we already discussed uh, previous topic, that is blood clotting, blood coagulation. Today we are going to discussing before that. So this is Krishna, HOD of Zoology, Sri Vasavi Degree College. So today we are going to be discussing about so the very important mechanism, blood clotting and blood coagulation and blood clotting. What is blood coagulation? What is blood clotting? Come on, tell me. Bushra, Rajita, what is blood coagulation? Ah,
The blood clotting refers to the liquid blood into semi-solid. It's called the blood coagulation or blood clotting.
okay,
It is to prevent the flow of blood. It will sealing the wound in the form of
okay,
plaque.
okay, right. So blood clotting and blood coagulation is nothing but the conversion of the liquid blood into semi-solid blood, the conversion of the liquid blood into solid, semi-solid or gel-like structure. So by the influence of different enzymes, different factors. So prevent this clot is to prevent the bleeding of blood. That is called clot or blood coagulation. So in the blood coagulation and different mechanisms we already discussed. That is Best and Tyler's theory we discussed, and Howell's theory we discussed, and Fern and Spiro's theory we discussed, right? And today we are going to discussing about very interesting mechanism, that is blood clotting mechanism, blood coagulation mechanism, that is none other than, okay, that is cascade theory. And the cascade theory was discovered by whose? So I think board is visible, audible. Usra, Rekha, Rajita, anyone can say. Hmm?
Yes, sir. Body is visible.
Okay, thank you very much. Mechanism. Today we are going to discussing about the cascade theory. This cascade theory was discovered by, so who's ma Biggs and McFarlane scientist in 1966. So why we can call it is a cascade theory? Why we can call it as a cascade theory? Cascade theory is about number of factors. So many factors which are present in the plasma. These factors which are helpful to formation of what happened now. So blood clotting, formation of blood clotting. So these factors look like an enzyme-like structure. That's why it's cascade. Enzyme-like structure, that is called cascade theory. So it is look like a chain-like structure. So many enzymes which are useful for the chain-like structure. That's why it is called cascade theory. The cascade theory was discovered by Biggs and Farler theory. So that is very very important. Already we discussed the introduction of the cascade. So in this cascade theory, how many factors are
Sir,
including? Ah,
I think you have muted yourself.
no, not muted. Beta. So now audible.
Audible, sir. Not audible,
Okay,
sir.
not audible.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the theory, the cascade theory, which is including mainly the mechanism which is involved by 13 factors. 13 factors which are look like enzyme factors, look like enzyme. So these 13 factors are involving look like a chain-like structure. That's what is called cascade. This cascade theory was discovered by Biggs and Farland scientists in 1966. What are the 13 factors are there? We already discussed it yesterday, day after yesterday. So what are the factors? Come on, tell me. So come on, tell me what are the factors, ma? Number one, what is number one? Fibrinogen. Number two, prothrombin. Number three, thromboplastin. Number four, calcium. Number five, axillary. Number six, proaxillary. So number seven, converting. Eighth, anti-hemophilic factor. Ninth, Christmas factor. And tenth, Stewart factor. And 11th, plasmothromboplastine antecedent. Plasmothromboplastine antecedent 11th factor, and 12th factor Hegman factor, and 13th factor fibrin stabilizing factor. What are the factors? Fibrin stabilizing factors are there. What are the fibrin stabilizing factors? See there. So you know very well. Fibrin stabilizing factors. These are the factors. Now let us go to this cascade mechanism. Mainly two pathways are. So already we discussed now what are those cascade theory, how many factors, 13 factors are there. Now what is the first factor fibrinogen, second one prothrombin, third one thromboplastin, fourth one calcium, so fifth one proaxillary, so sixth one axillary, okay, seventh one what happened now? So that is converting, seventh one converting, eighth one anti-hemophilic factor, that is K vitamin. Ninth one Christmas factor, and the 10th one Stewart factor, and 11th one what happened na? So that is plasmothromboplastine antecedent, and 12th one Hageman factor, and 13th one what ma? Fibrin stabilizing factor. What ma? Fibrin stabilizing factors are there. So this is a very important thing. Now in this pathway, this cascade theory, two pathways are there. One is intrinsic pathway and extrinsic pathway. Intrinsic pathway and extrinsic pathways are there. This cascade theory, how many pathways are there? Two pathways are there. How many pathways? Two pathways are there. One is very important thing that is intrinsic pathway. That is what ma? Intrinsic pathway. Intrinsic pathway. Intrinsic pathway. Okay. Next one. What happened now? Extrinsic pathway. Extrinsic pathway. Okay. Extrinsic pathway. Extrinsic pathways are there. Two pathways are there. How many pathways, man? Two pathways are there. This extrinsic pathway, intrinsic pathway, it is a endogenous pathway. What, man? Endogenous pathway. Nothing that endogenous pathway, nothing that what happened, ma'am? This pathway which takes place in it is contact with collagen. It is contact with collagen. That is intrinsic pathway. The tissue injured, what happened now? So that is platelets are injured, blood capsules are injured. That means inner side of the skin. That is called endogenous pathway, the pathway which takes place inside of the skin. So extrinsic pathway, that is called exogenous pathway. It is also called exogenous pathway. That means which is involving directly the skin tissue. That skin should be involving the tissue factors involving here. Tissue factor involving here. So that is very important. So now let us go to intrinsic pathway. What ma? Intrinsic pathway. Let us go to what are the important habits. First, so I will like to see what ma. Very important thing. First, whether the skin is injured. The skin that means the body parts are injured in this injured place. So what happened, ma? First, in from that injured place, the 12th factor is activated. What, ma? 12th factor is activated. Very important thing. How many members are there? 12. But ma, first what happened here? Remembering one thing, first damaged surface. Okay, the damaged surface, damaged damaged surface. What happened from this place? So here 12th factor. What is 12th factor? The 12th factor is activated. 12th INA should be activated. Activated. Okay, when what happens actually the 12th factor is inactive. When damage of the surface, when the surface is damaged, in that condition 12th factor is activated. Okay, what is 12th factor? Come on, tell me. 12th factor, what ma? Hegman factor.
Fibrin stabilizing factor, sir.
No, no, no. 13th is fibrin stabilizing factor. So I'm asking about the 12th factor, that is Hegman
Okay, okay, okay.
factor.
Okay,
What
sir.
ma?
Okay.
Hegman factor.
I
Okay,
was
clear?
mistaken.
Vishnu. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear. I was mistaken.
Okay. 12th factor is there. These 12th factor should not stop. This should be what happened now. These 12th factor should be activated. So should be activate the what happened now. So here 11th one. The 11th one should be activated. 11th one should be activated. So in the influence of this what happened now, 12th factor should be activate the what happened now, inactive 11th to active 11th. What is inactive 11th? Come on, tell me. What is inactive? What is 11th one? What is 11th one, ma? So this 11th one, what happened? What is 11th? 11th one, thromboplastin antecedent. Plasmothromboplastid antecedent. These plasmothromboplastid antecedent, inactive one, should be activated in the influence of that means health. That means Hegman activated factor. Okay. Now what happened? So this ninth one, the 11th one should be activate the what happened now. So that is ninth inactive factor into what happened now, ninth active factor. Okay, so the inactive, that means this 11th active factor should activate the inactive of 9th to active 9th, right? So that should be very, very important. Now this ninth one, okay, this ninth one here, the ninth one, remembering one thing, here eighth factor also involving, eighth A also involving for the cofactor. What happened now? For the cofactor, remembering one thing, so this is a very, very important thing. This eighth what is eighth? Anti-hemophilic factor. What is eighth one, ma? Anti-hemophilic factor also there. So now this ninth one should not stable. This ninth A factor should activate the. So remembering one thing, what happened now? So 10th inactive factor, the 10th inactive factor into this ninth active factor to activate the 10th inactive factor into what happened now? 10th active factor. 10th active factor. Okay, so that is very, very important. Next.
Once again from PTA, sir.
What, ma?
Once again, sir.
One side, okay, no problem. One side I repeat, no problem. No problem because
Okay.
మ్యూట్ చేసుకో, మ్యూట్ చెప్తాను. సో టోటల్గా మళ్ళీ చెప్తాను, నో ప్రాబ్లం. మీరు కాన్సన్ట్రేట్గా వినండి అంతే. నా నైన్త్, దట్ మీన్స్ 10th active factor should activate the, this 10th active factor should activate the what happened. So here, so what happened? Prothrombin. What is prothrombin? Which factor? Prothrombin which factor? That is second A. So it is visible. Okay, so that is called what? Second inactive factor into what happened? Second inactive factor into. So what we done? That is so second active factor. Second active factor. Prothrombin is the second one. Prothrombin is the second one. Remembering one thing. Clear? So that is clear. And now what happened here? See, this second A, that means second A required prothrombin convert prothrombin inactive. The prothrombin is a inactive factor. Prothrombin is a inactive factor. This prothrombin inactive factor into activate factor, that is thrombin. That is what ma? Thrombin. So thrombin you know very well, already you know. So what happened ma? So this thrombin, what happened ma? So here we are going to second A, because the board is not visible here. Okay, that's why the second A, what happened ma? This second A, activate the, remembering one ma? To activate the, remembering one thing, so that is fibrinogen. Okay, so this fibrinogen, remembering one thing, what is fibrinogen? This fibrinogen, okay, so this fibrinogen converted into fibrin. So in the influence of second A, so that is important common. So fibrinogen is nothing but one of first inactive factor into what happened now. So first active factor. So these fibrin should be formed clant in the influence of what happened now. So that is what happened now. So 13 fibrin stabilizing factor. In the fibrin stabilizing factor, what happened now? So this is involving these fibrin threads or group of threads are should be formed. Finally, clot should be formed. So this is a what happened now? Intrinsic pathway. What better? Intrinsic pathway. Remembering one thing. Intrinsic pathway. Remembering one thing. So what? Once again repeat. So once again repeat. See. So if the damage surface of the damaged surface, so that means inactive 12th factor to be activated. Inactive 12th factor is called what ma Heckman factor to be activated. Whether activation of these 12th factor, so it should not stable. It should be activate the what happened ma? So inactive 11th one into 11th A. 11th that is called you know very well plasma thromboplastin antecedent. So that should be activated. The 11th A is to activate the 9th inactive to active. The influence of what happened ma? 8th A also. 8th A but anti-hemophilic factor. And what happened ma? See here this 9th A. So this 9th A to activate the 10th A to 10th IA to IA not inactive. 10th IA to 10th A. So in the influence of 9th A and 8th A and 5th A also. What happened ma? 5th A also, remembering one thing. Okay, and here you know very well. So then, so this prothrombin, this 10th A, whether the 10th A activated, this prothrombin converted into thrombin in the influence of 10th A, and here calcium also involving. What happened ma? Calcium also involved. Calcium is which factor? Calcium is a fourth factor. Calcium is a fourth factor. Remembering one thing. So this prothrombin converted into thrombin. So if the thrombin is activated, the second A is activated. The second A is activated. What happened now? Fibrinogen into fibrin. So these fibrin converted into clot group of threads are formed by the influence of 13th factor. That is what ma? Fibrin stabilizing factor. So that is important about what happened ma? So this is the intrinsic pathway. So again I will okay, so this is an important pathways are there. Now what is extrinsic pathway? This extrinsic pathway very important thing. See, extrinsic pathway, which is tissue factors involving the tissue factor, but tissue injured, and the tissue injured, the tissue factor platelets are involving. These tissue factors are should activate the inactive. Inactive nothing but it is seventh one number, so that means converting these inactive of converting into activated. The tissue factor trauma involving tissue factor trauma here platelets P1, P2, P3 like the platelets are involving for the activation of 7th to 7th A. If whether the 7th A is activated, it should be what happened ma? So directly should activate the 10th inactive to 10th A. 10th inactive to 10th A in the influence of 8th factor. So this 8th factor also remembering one thing, na? This 8th factor remembering one thing. This 8th factor inactive 8th factor which is to activated. So the 8th factor which is activated in the influence of what happened ma? 5th, 3rd, 2nd. What happened ma? 5th, 3rd, 2nd. 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, which is involving and what happened? Which factors are here? So whether 9th A should activated, 9th A should activated into 9th IA, 9th, sorry, 10th inactive factor should activated in the influence of 7. When the 7th is activated, the extrinsic pathway is activated, started. Whether the 7th is activated, so what happens? 7th A and the influence of 8th A, so the 10th A is the 10th inactive factor to be activated. Simply, what happened? The extrinsic pathway. So, what happened? 10th inactive factor should activate it into 10th activated factor in the influence of 7th A and 8th A, and very important. This 8th A factor, which is also inactive, it should how should be activated in the influence of what happened? 5th A, 3rd A, 2nd A. Clear? So that is very important thing. Okay, clear? That is one of the factor. And once 10th A is activated, remember one. Once 10th A is activated, the prothrombin converted into thrombin in the influence of calcium, in the influence of what happened, ma? So you know very well. 5th and 3rd, the thrombin is activated. This thrombin is to convert the inactive of fibrinogen into fibrin. This fibrin, you know very well, to be formation of fibrin or to formation of fibrin plate to clot, the plug should be formed in the influence of 10th, that means what 13th factor, that is fibrin stabilizing factor. What is the difference between this extrinsic pathway and intrinsic pathway? Nothing but so very important thing here. Only once extrinsic pathway. So here 12th factor, extrinsic pathway 12th, 9th, 11th should not involving. Remembering one ma 12th, 9th, but ma 11th should not involving in the what happened ma extrinsic pathway. The extrinsic pathway is a direct pathway. The tissue factors involving, trauma is involving. In that condition, 7th is activated. Once 7th is activated directly in the influence of 8th. Okay, yeah, the 10th one should be activated. The 10th is activated. The second, that means what ma? The second should be activated into thrombin. Prothrombin into thrombin. Once prothrombin, same mechanism, same Western electric mechanism, we should be involving here. Both intrinsic and extrinsic, both common mechanism is there. What common mechanism? Prothrombin into thrombin is common. Fibrinogen into fibrin is common. But whereas remembering one thing, so here what happened now? So extrinsic pathway, so 12th, 9th, 11th should not involve, right? Okay, but extrinsic pathway, common mechanism, 10th to 10th A, 10th A, if the 10th A is activated, then that 10th A, prothrombin into thrombin, and the thrombin converts inactive of fibrinogen into fibrin. A group of fibrin should be formed. What happened now? So in the influence of fibrin stabilizing factor, so that the total all threads are linked. All threads are linked should be formed. Clot should be formed. Plug should be formed. That is a so here all factors are involving directly or indirectly. That's why it's called a cascade mechanism. That's what it's called. What ma? Cascade mechanism. Very important. Okay now. So here one important question will be asking PG level. So how should we activate of 50A? If the 50A is activated, compulsory required protein C. Protein C is compulsory required. This protein C, which is required from the vitamin C. The vitamin C, protein C to be activate the fifth inactive factor into active factor. That if the fifth is activated in that condition, what happen, this fifth, third, second should activate the eighth. Okay, so how should be activation of the eighth? Very very important. The eighth should be activated in the influence of second, third, fifth. Okay, fifth, third, second. The fifth is to be activated by the influence of protein C is required. So this is a very very important thing. So anybody can say what is the mechanism of intrinsic pathway? Come on, tell me. Intrinsic pathway mechanism. Who can say? Who can say? Come on, tell me. Tell me, ma. So this clot is called cross-linked clot. That means so many fibrin threads are formed. So many fibrin threads are formed. That is called what? Cross-linked pathways. So this is very important question. Will asking what is blood coagulation? Or what is blood coagulation? So or what is blood clotting? To describe the cascade mechanism. That means you must write this. Simply, ma. So in the I would like to give simple quotation. First 10th, 11th, 12th IA to be activated. 12th A in the influence of weather damage surface. Whether 12th A is activated to activate the what happened, ma? 11th to 11th A. If the 11th A is activated, it should be what, ma? 9th IA to 9th A. The 9th A to be activated, what happened, ma? So 10th IA to 10th A. 10th A in the influence of 8th A factor. In the influence of 8th A factor. If the 10th A is activated, so what happens? Fibrinogen into prothrombin into thrombin. Thrombin should be activated, same mechanism. Thrombin should be fibrinogen into fibrin. The fibrin should be clotted into by the influence of cross-linked stabilizing factor. So that is called 13th factor, fibrin stabilizing factor. That is cross-linked, all threads are formed. The clot should be formed. This is called what, ma? Intrinsic pathway. Then extrinsic pathway, what? Okay, the tissue factor, trauma should be formed. Tissue damage, in that tissue factor platelets involving directly, what I mean, directly 7th IA to 7th A. The 7th A is activated directly, what I mean, so here in the influence, thus 9th, 10th IA to 10th A in the influence of 7th A and 8th A. Okay, so they same. If the 10th A is activated, same, what happened, prothrombin into thrombin, that means second IA to second A, second IA to second A. Okay, thrombin, the thrombin fibrinogen into fibrin. The fibrin threads, a group of cross-linked fibrins are formed in the influence of 12th factor. Here, okay, in the extrinsic pathway, okay, the 8th should be activated. The 8th A should be, how should be activated? 8th A, nothing but here involving 5th A, 3rd, 5th, 3rd, 2nd A. 5th A, 3rd A, and what happened, 2nd A. How should be activation of 5th A? 5th A to be activation required, protein C required thromboglobulin. That is called what, ma? Protein C is thromboglobulin. The protein C involving for the 5th IA to 5th. Okay, so this is called extrinsic pathway. Remembering one thing. Okay, now clear? So the same mechanism. Simply, anybody can say. Verona cheptara. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, Bushra.
I can say, sir.
Okay.
First, extrinsic pathway. In this extrinsic pathway, when the tissue is damaged,
Okay.
in that condition, the 12th factor is activated. It is
Okay.
just inactivate by the influence of damaged surface. It will be activated. The 12th factor is Hugman factor.
Okay.
And this 12th factor will be activate the inactive factor, that is plasmothromboplastine incident.
Okay.
And by the influence of 11th factor, the 9th factor will be activated.
Okay.
By the ninth factor and fifth factor, the inactivated 10th factor will be activated.
Okay.
The 10th factor and the calcium factor will be activated the second factor, that is prothrombin.
Okay.
The prothrombin will be converted into thrombin,
Okay.
and it is thrombin will be converted in, activate the fibrinogen, and the fibrinogen convert into the fibrin, and
Okay.
by the influence of second 12th factor, that 13th factor, that is fibrin stabilizing factor, and the clot will be formed. The clot is called the cross-linked clot.
Okay.
And the second one, extensive pathway is it is tissues are involving in the extensive pathway,
Okay.
and the platelets is formed. In this tissue factor, first seventh inactive factor will be activated,
Okay.
and after that directly the 10th factor will be activated by the influence of 8th factor.
Okay. Eighth and seventh.
Eighth and seventh factor, by the influence of these two factors, the 10th factor will be activated.
Okay.
The 8th factor will be activated by the influence of second, third, and fifth factors.
Okay.
And here fifth factor will be for the activation of fifth factor, the thromboglobin proteins is must.
Okay.
And next, the seventh, and by the help of seventh and eighth factor, 10th factor is already activated. The 10th activated factor will be activate the prothrombin. This prothrombin activate the thrombin.
Okay.
This thrombin will be activate the fibrinogen. This fibrinogen converted into the fibrin by the influence of 13 factor, that is fibrin stabilizing factor, and finally the clot should be formed.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Excellent answer. Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
That is Bushra. That is a Krishna Sar student. And
Thank you, sir.
okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma. So thank you for your cooperation. I hope you understand this blood coagulation mechanism. And today you work out and mechanism. I think hope all of you know very well. So thank you very much. Today the time is completed. The session is completed. And one more thing, and get ready for seminar and for any topic because of the circulation topic is completed. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow and completely remembering one thing. So any one person get ready for seminar for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Okay, clear? And tomorrow onwards. Tomorrow onwards because of circulation topic is completed. So and whether you completed your seminars and will continue next topic, right? So today's session is completed. Thank you very much. This is Krishna, HOD of Zoology, signing out.